Hi everybody, it's Andrell, day 6, and I'm shooting or shooting. Listen to me like I'm on camera, but just taping my day 6, and I thought I would share a random thought that if I really put much more effort, and maybe eventually I will, could easily become a thesis, or it could become I guess a whole theory. Heck, I need to check if it already is. So, truthfully, I have to tell you, it's not something I've read on a book, but I've just kind of come to terms with personally, in terms of how I interpret and like to kind of just assess people. So, in general, I'm an assessor. In my job, it's part of the territory as a therapist. I just assess nonverbals and behaviors and whatnot. So today, the topic that I'm going to explore randomly and very briefly with you, and may have to come back once I've kind of mapped it out, but it's the concept or the idea of who you are as a driver and what does that mean about you as a person. I'm convinced that your driving style is a concrete representation of who you are as a person in terms of how you make decisions and how you act out in life. Why? Where did this come from? I'm on the road a lot because I do visits families at home, so I'm on the road a lot, and it could be extremely frustrating. And I've really had to kind of start paying attention to how I drive and the mindset I may be in. Now, I'm going to use myself as a guinea pig in terms of kind of defining, giving an example of the type of driver. So when I drive, I like to look a lot at my rear view mirror. So I'm looking in the rear view because I want to make sure nobody behind me catches up with me. I need to stay in front. And if I see you barreling down, chances are my foot will instinctively push even more on the gas, and I will try to keep you behind me. Now, if you are just too intense, then I'll pull over and let you pass because it is a passing lane, and then I will pull back in and try to make sure the others behind me don't catch up. So it's almost like it's always a race. I'm always racing. I'm that person in traffic that will, set a marker and say, I cannot fall too far behind from this person. If I do, I need to figure out, change lanes and make something happen. So I look a lot in the rear view, and I like to speed. Not speed just like for the thrill, but if there's just a lot of movement around me, I won't realize how fast I'm going until something happens, and I may, then see how quickly I've been going. So how does that relate to me as a person in the real world or in life in general? I find that it is true to the idea that when I'm doing something, if I maybe use somebody else as, or maybe a simple example, if I were to start college year 2, I'd want to be sure that I graduate before the class that came in after me, because that would mean that I maintained the course and I stayed on target. The idea that somebody who came in after me graduates before me would imply for me that I kind of slacked, that I didn't do what I needed to do, or that I fell behind, or something of the sort. Is it a race? No. It's just natural. It's an idea for me that in general, if you started first, it's expected that you should finish first. It's really a very simplistic way of seeing things. With regards to the rear view mirror, I think that reflects basically the idea of what I'm looking at behind me as opposed to looking in front of me. So sometimes I'm focused more on what's happening behind me, that I'm not paying enough attention to what's happening in front of me. And in life, I think sometimes that could happen to me, that I'm more focused on people and things in back of me, that I may not give my full attention to what's going on in front of me until somebody is coming up behind me and is about to pass me, that all of a sudden I'm like, I gotta go, I gotta pass this person. Then I'll pay more attention to what's in front of me. So it's kind of interesting, the idea of looking behind and looking in the past, looking at, old relationships, looking at old friendships, and kind of judging or basing decisions on the past as opposed to where you're headed. And that's classic for when you're in friendships and relationships. Sometimes you think that person was your ace. That person was the, your buddy that you could depend on come high water, no matter what happened. But now life is taking you guys on both two different highways. Two different highways. Y'all are driving different cars. Some of y'all driving minivans, and some of you guys are driving, sports cars. Some of you guys on bikes. And you expect that you guys can maintain the same speed and reach the same destination, which, who told you is the same destination? Really? So, I mean, when you kind of like start really paying attention a bit to that, does it mean that you lose friends? No, you just start realizing and understanding the mindset maybe of certain people. And, is this foolproof? I don't think so. But if you really have to just pay attention. I love it. I see those erratic drivers who are just kind of like weaving, going nowhere, making lateral moves, a lot of moves. You think they're going to get somewhere fast, and then 2 seconds later you're zooming right by them because, they just move so much and they ended up, stuck behind a granny. Or you got them people who constantly, tapping on the brakes. Those are the extremely cautious drivers. I don't like being behind them just because I fear what they may do if anything just kind of comes up out of nowhere and may surprise them. And those are the people who tend to be very cautious in making decisions in life. That's my interpretation. I ain't met these people. That's just kind of a guess I'm making. If you can be that cautious behind the wheel, it makes me wonder how cautious are you in other areas that are as important? Because driving is a serious matter. So I'm not even going to take that away from them. Then we just have those steady people driving at the speed limit and doing what they need to do. And those are the people who left with enough time and knew that they needed an hour window to get to their destination. So they ain't rushing. They're not worried about being late because they gave themselves enough time to reach their destination. Do you get me? Now, I ain't that person. So I definitely pass those people and I respect them because those give me the impression of the people who kind of like map things out and think ahead of time as opposed to just be responsive and kind of like have to figure things out quickly because they didn't give themselves enough time. So, I mean, those are just a couple of ideas. I really want to kind of like, dig deeper. Heck, maybe I'll put out a survey on there out on YouTube one time and get a sense of what everybody else is thinking. But yeah, I think, just for yourself and, shoot me back a, response and let me know if you've thought of this. What kind of a driver are you? And does it kind of parallel or mimic how you make decisions and how you live your life? Are you cautious, which is not a bad thing? Are you erratic? Are you always speeding? Are you out of control and reckless maybe in how you drive? Are you just easy go, on time, never, within the limit and just, follow the rules of the road? Or are you that person who's always looking in the rear view mirror to trying to gauge who's behind you and what's happening? Are you the person who doesn't even look in the rear view because you're too focused on where you're headed that you may not even be aware of what's going on behind you? I don't know. Food for thought. Food for thought. Today I was driving and I was like, yo, I need to ease up on this rear view mirror and just focus on where I'm headed. No business about people behind me and who's passing me, because you know what? They're heading home. It's probably not the same destination, so I don't know why I'm racing with these strangers. So, that's another topic for another day, and I've kept you guys long enough. So, think about it. What kind of a driver are you? All right. Tune in tomorrow, day 7. All right. Bye.